Hey guys, welcome to a snowy edition of Rockin' H Woodshop. Here in Oklahoma, we have been experiencing 60-degree weather for the past week, and today we have 14-degree weather with snow, sleet, and rain on the ground. I don't understand it, but only in Oklahoma can you get all 4 seasons of weather in one night. But that's not the thing of discussion today. Today, it's a brand new project, and I did a little bit of recycling in my shop. As you know, a few episodes back, I took some ingrain pine and made a beautiful countertop. And I had a slab left over, as you can see right here. And with that slab, we are going to make today's project. And it's this set of coasters. So, hope you guys enjoy that. It's coming up. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth with how an ingrain cutting board or how an ingrain surface is supposed to be put together. I've done a video on this and I'll put a link down for that in the description. So what people normally do is take a bunch of strips and they just cut it through the table saw to make them, and then you glue them up just like this, and then once it's dry they run it through the table saw again, and after they do that you just turn your ends up like this and then glue them all up that way. And then you have an ingrained surface to work with. The block that I sawed off the side of the butcher block top is a little uneven because of the clamping pressure that I applied when I first made it. So it got a bow in the middle here on one side, but the other side is not so bad. So that's the side we're gonna put up against the fence to square up the edges so we can work with this a little bit better. Because I can't run this through the planer, it'll tear up way too bad and be rough on my knives. Now we're just going to run it through the saw blade about halfway up the thickness of this at 3/8 of an inch thickness to cut the coasters to their thickness that we want. Okay, now if you look on these strips, each one of these has a tiny little piece that is left over from the cut. I'm just going to trim that off now. Run our pieces through the drum sander. You can actually use a belt sander for this. Just clamp your pieces down to a table and go to town. I've got 2 pieces here that are a different thickness than this one right here. This one is actually going to be the base of the coaster holder. So I just left it the thickness. This actually was the middle of the whole board itself. So we're going to put that one aside and deal with it later. Now we're going to cut these down to appropriate size. We're going to square up one end and then we're going to run it through the blade at a 3 3/4 inch wide piece. Alright, now because I have 3 rows on this particular piece of wood, I need to cut it to 3.5 inches square across this way, just like I did here. But because I have 3 rows, I got to make it look even, so this row has to be centered. So what I've done is relocated the stop block to take off the section on either side to make this 3.5 inches wide while still keeping that center section centered. Okay, now the base. I've taken one of the coasters from its final dimension and laid it on the base to figure out how big I want this base to be. And these are 3 3/4 inches square, so I'm going to make the base 4 3/4 inches square. What I'm going to do is take a short dowel rod, 1/4 inch in diameter, and put 1 on either side in the front and then 2 in the back, and that'll keep it from falling out either way. I screwed up. Whenever I laid the outline of where these holes should go, I used the coaster as the outline, and whenever I drilled, I used that outline as part of the center mark, which means that the dowel is actually going to be instead of the coaster, which means the coaster won't fit. So I'm going to have to trim these down a little bit more, and I'm actually going to do it where I don't have to worry about the centering, but instead of 3 3/4 inches square, they're going to be 3.5 inches square. Whoops. Now we're just going to use the belt sander to round over all of the corners because I really don't want to run these through the router for the sake of the router bit may chip out the end grain. Now for the finish, we're going to use this Formby's tung oil finish, and this is pretty cool because it has a polyurethane blend inside of it, so it gives that tung oil look and the buildup for polyurethane as well. Now this is not a 100% food safe finish, so if you plan on using this on a cutting board, do not do that. It will not be the right finish. Use 100% tung oil for that. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up how to make these simple coasters out of ingrain. If you don't have any left over, you can easily make yourself some with the demonstration that I showed you at the beginning of the film. And next week, I already know what I'm going to be doing because my daughter's birthday is coming up. We're going to make a cornhole game. So it's going to have a Monsters University or Monsters Inc. Theme going. So that should be a fun project. So I'll see you guys next week. Be safe in your shops.